What's up, Alex?
What's up? We're living it live right now.
Right. Doing it big, man. What's going on, man? Let us know what you got going on in the world, man.
Well, in this long journey of music and, of course, the Miami sound that we've been carrying for years as Cut It Up Def, the original record label, which we're running again with Jock D and myself. It's been a crazy cool journey, linking up with, Nick Baby Love. Nick Baby Love has opened a lot of doors, after what I was doing with the Latin stuff and Telemundo and all that stuff. Oye, mi gente latina que fue representando en la casa, you know what I'm saying?
Sí.
But yeah, man, doing a lot of cool stuff. I'm dropping the new album, Weird World, and the first single on it is a record we did with Africa Mambata, thanks to Nick Baby Love. He was able to get Africa Mambata to come to Dreamhouse Studios and drop some heavy-ass hook lines,
Like that.
Just like that.
All right, so let's go ahead and get into that. Nick Baby Love, you want to say something?
No, except I just want to thank Zulu Nation because I'm on the commission.
On the mic.
Okay, and I don't have headphones, but I guess you can hear me.
That's right, you can hear yourself.
It's all right to have the mask. So, I'm a part of Zulu Nation for 40 years, and I want to shout out Brother Ahmad, Dr. Shaka Zulu, King Yoda, and of course, my man Africa Mambata, actually a personal friend for 40 years, going back to Planet Rock, when nobody would pay attention to us. But he came down on 3 or 4 occasions, and he just dropped a lot of stuff. And, he just ad-libs. The guy's unbelievable. And this, he said, Nick, tell Alex, no, leave the mic on. I just want to add a few more things because I'm in a good mood. You show me some flavor, and as long as you take me for that healthy food, you know what I mean? I'm gonna rock and roll. So here we go with something off the wall from Africa Mambata.
For a while, been gone like bell bottles, but I'm back in style. That's a growth from Bam. We all want you like Uncle Sam. We're gonna save you like a bundle plan. Like getting their play for $100 grand versus 200 for the market plummet. Work that deal with the steel and granite. We all living in crazy times. Here to spark up the lazy minds. Get you back up to shake your behind. It's time to turn back the hands of time. Work that spine, incline like Twister. Tell your mama, tell your grandma, your sister. This is a real world. Gonna escape with the real girl. Sexy thing, Sabra Fuda. You make me sing like Romeo and Aventura. Reality is she only shakes for the moolah. He's still fat boy, she'll see you like Buddha. Oh no, there she goes, touching her toes with the flexi flow. Mask, gloves, rubbers, pose. Spray her down with some H2O. Brother Marquise lyrically took chances. Cause this is the era of the private dancers. and that's for play for chicks. You like a bill, they heard a shaky tail down for money trail.
Go bang, go bang, go bang, shake that bang. Go bang, go bang, go bang, go shake that bang. Go bang, go bang, go bang, go shake that bang. Go bang, go bang, go bang, go. Get it, boy. Get it, boy.
Say what? Crazy right there. Going down. So, Alex, what's the name of the actual, what's the Poco Loco?
Poco Loco is the brand that I created for myself. When I did the Latin thing, when I went to Telemundo and all that stuff, the whole Latin thing. But originally, when I was signed to Cut It Up Death at the age of 17, I had the alias of T-Boys DL. That's what I'm doing with this album, is releasing that brand, T-Boys DL, because that's when the whole Miami bass thing was going on, and I was doing like Miami-based techno raps. That was what my forte was, and doing the whole movie, The Bass That Ate Miami. Y'all young people out there need to get a lesson on Miami history. Go on YouTube and research Miami bass movie, and you're gonna get The Bass That Ate Miami. It's gonna go back into the foundation of the DJ culture in Miami, on how it just developed into this, up-tempo bass music where it just took over the nightclubs, and it became a phenomenon throughout the whole United States and all the college towns and everything, with the booty shaking stuff. And basically that track with African Bambaataa, who don't know who it is, like Nick was saying, is a legendary. He is the godfather of hip hop. He did Planet Rock. And for y'all don't know Planet Rock, then you guys
everybody knows who.
It's the most simple record in
Everybody knows who African Bambaataa is. From the mighty Zulu nations. The culture of the godfather of hip hop. You got Kool Herc, and then you got African Bambaataa. You see what I'm saying?
Most definitely.
So
there you go. And the whole crew that he introduced me to over the years, like Chuck D, Flavor Flav, Big Daddy Kane, Kumo D. It's just, you could go on and on with Grandmaster Flash, when Public Enemy went into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, they told them straight up that they all belong. Especially Kool Herc started this in the Bronx, and I lived it, because like I said, we used to just hang out. We didn't know Planet Rock was going to be a hit, because the producers
push the mic to him.
Yeah, I hope you heard me, but the producer was somebody went to high school a little bit earlier than me.
Yeah, put the mic closer.
Push
the mic closer. Push the mic closer. No, push it. Yeah, all the way. You can move it. You can move it all the way to him.
There you go.
But this is the thing where, when they're asking the promo man or me, like, well, what do you like about this, that, whatever, and I says, why don't you check out this song Numbers by these German dudes? And that's where Arthur got the idea, and I went back and forth with Bam so many times. Like, just to finish it up, how crazy the whole thing is that Planet Rock was a real creation, where everybody in the studio, from Tom Silverman, the owner, to John Roby, the engineer, to Arthur Baker, the producer, who took all those ideas. I was like a small part. I just promoted it.
Okay, Nick.
You know what I mean?
It's not your turn yet. Okay? Let's let that be known now. So, Alex.
Yeah, man.
What's up with this next record?
All right, so first of all, I want to give shouts out to the producers that I worked with this record. I got to give a shout out to Jock D, my partner in Cut It Up Death, because he's the one that produced that Crazy Weird World, and he's producing a lot of other stuff. We got Miami Bass Jams 3 coming out. And then definitely...
Same thing, talking to the mic, brother. You got to talk to the mic.
And, the next song coming up is called Hungry Like a Wolf, and I really got to give a shout out to DJ Elio Branco. He's from Sao Paulo. He's a DJ, producer. He owns Namix Studios in Sao Paulo, and he produced actually half of my album. So this song we're gonna hear is called "Hungry Like a Wolf," and let's check it out. DJ Elio Branco.
"Hungry Like a Wolf" right here. Brand new joint podcast called Origins. Y'all check out.
Never know when I'ma strike. Locked in a room, creating like Tesla. Put it in the mix, put it in the mezcla. Cut it on the table, put it on the mesa. Arizona, New Mexico, Texas. Sending love to the west and the rest. The world with the girls wearing next to nothing but it's something for the sex. Got me lifted, flying like a Cessna. Hungry, hungry like a wolf. Hungry, in the hunger game, only the strong remain. Hungry, hungry like a wolf. Hungry, hungry like a wolf. In the heat of the fight, you can see my eyes glow when I beat him like Mike. When the feeling ignites, that's when I strike when the feeling ignites. Your dealing ain't right when you're stealing the rights from the one who writes. I've always been one with the mic, lift the moon to the night like a plane to the flight. Pour that lick in that pit. Pour it. Salute to my angel's rib. Rest in peace. Eye to eye, we're alive, but it's quick. But it's quick. Hurry. You bit the feed and delete it like a glitch. Cut to the chase of the case in a Vespa. Settle on a court and investor. In my career, in mi carrera. Rotates on a play by a selector. Respecta, respeta. I got a golden egg and an Esther. Right next to my safe in Alexa. Pay the big will be left in a mess. Hungry, hungry like a wolf. Hungry, in the hunger game, only the strong remain. Hungry, hungry like a wolf. Hungry, hungry like a wolf. Like the mob you breaking, you start to taking hard drives and archives, burning, erasing, but they can't take what's embedded in my head. I got no rhyme book, but I freestyle instead. You're out for street cred, soon you'll be dead. You look like a meathead, I'm out to be fed. Breach the contract, it needs to be read. Beat you up, eat you up like wheat bread. High on grains, I just better. High on the brain, past the tester. My last name has a cresta, symbol of a shield to protect her. Along with the vest of a Beretta, I see you're feeling the stressor, like Queen and boys in the pressure. You're blowing on top when you fess up. Hungry, hungry like a wolf. Hungry, in the hunger game, only the strong remain. Hungry, hungry like a wolf. Hungry, hungry like a wolf. Pour that lick in that pit. Pour it. Salute to my angel's rib. Rest in peace. Eye to eye, we're alive, but it's quick. But it's quick. Hurry. You bit the feed and delete it like a glitch. In the heat of the fight, you can see my eyes glow when I beat him like Mike. When the feeling ignites, that's when I strike when the feeling ignites. Your dealing ain't right when you're stealing the rights from the one who writes. I've always been one with the mic, like the moon to the night, like a plane to the flight. Bam!
Hungry like a wolf. It's going down. Pogo Logo in the building, man. What it say? Pogo Logo! Pogo Logo!
¿Qué pasa ese? I want to represent all my Chicanos, all my Cubans, all my Cubanos, all my Boricuas, all my Dominicanos, all my Colombianos, my Venezuelanos, Ecuadorians, Brazilians. We're in the house. We're representing. We're South Florida. We're feeling good.
Right here, live in the building, man. Origins of the hot new show. Nick Baby Love, Wildman, Teddy T. We in the building, man. That's how we do it. You know, I got a mouthful of food right now, and I'm like,
Look, you're the legendary Teddy T. Nobody's gonna mind that.
Oh,
you know
man.
What I'm saying? I mean, come on, you've been around Miami. You already know the sound. I mean, you know, you were part of the whole thing. You know, I was a kid listening to you on you know, I'm not gonna mention the other stations though. But,
right,
you know,
right.
you
No, it's
mentioned
good.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we're in a new world, right? Because like
Yeah.
the internet is different. So, anyways, that was Hungry Like a Wolf. Another thing is, I wanted to give a shout out to Hanson and Davis. It was an original freestyle song called "Hungry for Your Love." And for those who don't know and are listening right now, and you're in South Florida and you're thinking, "Damn, I know this guy's voice." Well, anyways, let me tell you why I wrote that song, "Hungry Like a Wolf." When the pandemic hit, this company that I did advertising for 12 years, they're called offleaseonly.com. I did all their music jingles. I helped them make millions, and they dropped me like a fly on COVID. And don't ever buy a car there. And if you need a used car, a good used car, you can go anywhere because they all buy from the same places. I just had to say that because in the lyrics of the song, you're going to hear some lyrics saying, you know, they're taking the rights from the one who writes, basically. So I wrote all the lyrics. I was bringing different genres of people in, from Hispanic to blacks to whites to everything into their dealership because I was attacking their market and knowing how to bring them in. And then, like I said, they dropped me like that. And so, once the quarantine hit, I just said, look, let me do this album that I had. I got to get this album out. So, man, I had to let a lot of stuff out,
Right. When's the album actually drop?
It's actually available now. It came out last week, so I'm doing a video every month. There's already some videos out there with Do You Like, which is a whole hip-hop culture, 4-element thing about the whole hip-hop culture with the graffiti, the breakdancing, the turntablism, and the MCing. The album has a song called X-File that it's about, the vaccine stuff coming out. There's a song called ISO. It's a love song, Isolation. It's got a mixture of stuff of Miami-based music from 30 years in the making. And I worked with, like I said, different producers. I even have a track on this album with Mr. Mix called Bionic Bass.
Okay.
It's nuts, but the next song we're going to listen to is called Quick Draw. And I wanted to bring another producer in, this is a young cat. I've been hosting a lot of parties at Dreamhouse Studios. Teddy T, you've been to Dreamhouse Studios. I've been doing a lot of parties, and a lot of new rappers and a lot of young people out there come out, like RL Buddha, Sad Generation, Island Mob, Sucks Lord 666. You got Sheep, Whisper, Aaliyah. I mean, there's so many young talent out there that are rocking this stuff right now. And, Filthy, Grimy, all those people. I wanted to give a shout out to them. Heavyweight Entertainment. They're doing a lot of big things at Dreamhouse Studio with Javi Party. Anyways, I'm rambling on. Quick Draw is the next single. It's produced by Drums. He's a young cat.
Yo, Drums, crank that beat.
Here it goes.
Gonna take it to the streets. You packing, you're calling the attention cause you're flashing. You're cocky, throwing down like Hoggy cause you're strapping. You got me, who you here to shoot? Protect you against the government races of those who loot. Dum diddy dum these stupidos, to be shooting those. Dum diddy dum these stupidos, to be shooting those. Bada bing, bada bang, ready tap 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 for the tap, better stand back. Bada bing, bada bang, ready tap 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 for the tap, better stand back. I'm supreme, I'm not a let it. I'm about to let it, not the lead, but I'ma shed it. Not machetes, cutting confetti, heads off, all beds off. I'm shedding that light and brighten your day in the middle of the night. You ain't shit, pull it quick. Bullets rigged, Mr. Target, kill the kid, stupid. I'm out of here, man, I don't gotta fear, man. I ain't got a tear, man, I just got some gear, man. My tool is the mic and I shoot with this. I aim to the brain bulls, I don't miss. Mexican, Chinese, Jewish. Hey, I see in this bitch. I wanna live and I want you to live. I gotta give and I want you to give. You're desperately seeking like Susan, they got you. And I don't even know what possession to strap on, but they shot you. You're packing, you're calling the attention cause you're flashing. You're cocky, throwing down like Hoggy cause you're strapping. You got me, who you here to shoot? Protect you against the government races of those who loot. Pow, 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 click, clack is the sound with a boom, boom, boom when it's ringing in the room. Pow, 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 click, clack is the sound with a boom, boom, boom when it's ringing in the room. They spray in the streets, deep, 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 bat, 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 from the head to the feet. They spray in the streets, deep, 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 bat, 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 from the head to the feet. The 5-0s don't know, no, that's why they call po-pos. Because it rhymes with bobos, cause they're under control. Oh, you live by the gun, die by the gun. Never heard it like that on the beat of the drums. Bleed as one, we heal as one. You wanna take me out, I'ma beat you, son. Put him up, fight. Before you end up doing life, we may end up being friends, making some ends, throwing back lights. Watching Friday night fights, watching our kids grow up right. Despite of what might would've happened if you didn't hear me rapping. They still keep on packing and they still keep on strapping. Bunch of quick draw McGraws and RA loves you all. In the 80s we rapped about stopping violence, but lately like the 80s they want us to quiet riot. Come on, feel the noise. Rock your boys, rock the block, bricks and rocks thrown through windows, another got shot. Innocent kid, could've had a shot. Didn't have a Glock, got dropped on the spot. When does it end? The end. You know what, Drums? Let the beat ride.
Quick Draw right there on the scene, man. Alex Bocologo!
Poco Loco en la casa.
It's live right here, man. So what's the name of the whole project?
It's called Weird World.
Weird World.
Yeah, it's Weird World, and we all living in a weird world with the mask and all that stuff. And I definitely, going back into history and the music. I know you got, a lot of things to do today. I just wanted to reflect a little bit, as I was coming up, being in the business for 30-something years. Never stop doing it. If you're out there and you're an aspiring artist, look, it's been 35 years and I never stopped. Not saying that I made it greatly, but I made a lot of moves and I met a lot of people in the industry and I was able to carry my own weight independently. I've toured independently. I've done everything independently. I never
Open the door.
never did any illegal activities. I just worked hard.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just all the work ethic that you put into your product. You're gonna come out with something. I gotta give a shout out to people who helped me out in the past, as far as Cecilio Machete. We got Mauludi. He toured with me. We did projects together. He rolled with Rick Ross at one point. We also did Rick Sosa. We got. I want to give a rest in peace, Cooley C, Kid Money. They were all part of Cut It Up Deaf. And
Cooley C was with KJ.
Yeah, of course.
KJ and the fellas.
Yeah, Cooley was a good mentor to us because he was from West Palm Beach, originally from Baltimore, but he was able to zone in and give us what we wanted. And also Dave Noller was from Dynamix 2. He really helped everybody from West Palm Beach come
Dynamix
up.
2, give the DJ a break.
That's right. Legendary stuff over here. And I was happy to work with these guys, and they've opened the door for me, and I learned a lot from them. Lon Alonso also taught me about publishings. I used to skip school and go to the library to read about Dick Clark's music books. Publishings, copyrights. They wouldn't teach you that in school, so I had to go out and because I knew that's what I was going to do.
That's what you was going to do. I tell artists all the time, if you know that you're going to be in the music business, the best thing to do first is to go and learn the business.
Yes.
Because then when you get in the business, you know what you got to do, and you won't be messing around and wasting money. You know what I'm saying? Get out there, do the knowledge, learn the game, so you know exactly what you got to be doing to get it done.
And that's
so. Do you have any videos for any of these songs?
Oh yeah, we got a lot of videos. I got real sexy videos coming out soon too. But one of the videos called "Do You Like?" It's a breakdance graffiti rapping video. The other video I just released called "Feel My Heat," which also was produced by DJ Elio Branco at Newkirk Studios in São Paulo. Also DJ Tom Oliver. He's with a real famous rock band in Brazil. He's also one of the producers on the album. Damn, I almost forgot Great Scott. He also produced a song on the album. And, dude, it's just about showing the love, and it's all about streets. Mm-hmm. You got to communicate with the streets. You have the internet, but if you're out there in the streets, if you're an artist and you let 30 people around your neighborhood know who you are, you got somebody already.
That's it. Organic.
You know what I'm saying?
Organic.
So I don't want to make the show longer. I really appreciate it,
Give everybody
brother.
your social media so they can follow you and everything.
You can follow us at DH Palm Beach, which is for Dreamhouse Studios Palm Beach. DH Palm Beach, and you can also find us under anything Facebook, Cut It Up Deaf. Cut It Up Deaf. Legendary record label from South Florida since the 80s, late 80s. Like I said, Cut It Up Deaf released hits like Party Time, Cut It Up Deaf itself, Shake That Ass Bitch, Scrub the Ground. I mean, so many hits that were released. Splack Pack was part of Cut It Up Deaf.
Splack Pack was part of Cut It Up Deaf.
And what happened is that, we were able, Jock D and I were able to, carry the label and bring the resurgence back with the Bass Daddy Miami, the movie we're talking about, along with Scott and Rick. We were able to produce this film. My son now is the new guy doing the filming and stuff, but his venture is going to expand as long as he's been around all the radio stations I did interviews with, and from here to Brazil, Ecuador, California, New York, and all that stuff. He's met Bam, he's met a lot of other famous people, and shit, man, I'm rambling on before my time is up. Let me see what else. It's been a long journey, and we're loving it, man. Like I said, Mr. Mix, awesome. He's dope as hell.
Right.
But let's close the show, I guess, with the crazy world with Bam again, man.
All right, we'll get back into that just a second here. So we got my man Polo in the building.
Poco Loco, a.k.a. T-Boys DL, which means, my son was asking me, what does the DL mean? Because nowadays DL is down low.
Yeah.
But back then, T-Boys DL, I had an alias. It was This Boy's Deaf Lyrics.
Right.
Because I was all about the lyrics.
That's all about the lyrics, baby.
Remember, do not buy a card off lease only.
Do that.
Go to H. Gregg or something, find the cars or something. All right, guys, let's rock this thing, man.
It is good.
Wanna tell you this for a while. Been gone like the models, but I'm back in style. That's a growth from bam. We don't want you like Uncle Sam. We're gonna save you like a bundle plan, like getting their play for 100 grand versus 200 for the market plummet. Work that deal with the steel and gun it. We all living in crazy times. Here to spark up the lazy minds. Get you back up to shake your behind. It's time to turn back the hands of time. Work that spine, incline like Twister. Tell your mama, tell your grandma, your sister. This is a real world. Gonna escape with the real girl. Sexy thing, Sabrosura. You make me sing like Romeo and Aventura. Reality is she only shakes for the moolah. Be still fat boy, she'll see you like Buddha. Oh no, there she goes. Touching her toes with the flexi flow. Mask, gloves, rubbers, pose. Spray her down with some H2O. Brother Marquise lyrically took chances. Cause this is the era of the private dancers. Just make a move. Body rock, get up, baby, don't let up. Girl, you gotta step up, ass down and head up, head up, head up, head up, head up. Back it up, back it in, back it up, back it in. Move it down, move it up, move it down, move it down. Everybody moving something, everybody stopping something. Gotta get on the roof. Cut it up death. Cut it up death. Cut it up death. Cut it up death. Your body, body, shake your body, body. Your body, body, shake. Just wanna go crazy. Just wanna go crazy. Just wanna go crazy. You gon' go crazy. You gon' go crazy. You shake that thing. Shake that thing. It's cutting up death. Chalk D on the beats. You know it well. T-Boys DL. Bambada on the track. Just if you can't tell. We all been through hell and back. Star Trek Enterprise past by. Look into the future, telescope glass eyes. Fight the elite, not the white or black guy. Jealous of the sister with a big thick thigh. Latin, white, yellow, and brown, they're all fly. Hate serve best on a gourmet dish. Temptation, that's full play for chicks. And I prevail. They're here to shake a tail. Down for a money trail.
Listen, party people, let me tell you this. Something I know you can't resist. We came here tonight to let you know that we are the crew gonna steal the show. Cause the time is now for you to see how our crew came to be. So get on the floor, take a chance. This is the time you get to dance.
What all those records had in common right there, from Planet Rock to Beatbox to Holly Dolly. It's the man right here, the legendary, honorable Nick Baby Love in the building. Nick Baby Love's in the house, so let's get the crowd ready for Nick Baby Love. Here we go. The crowd comes wild for Nick Baby Love. Here he goes.
All I got to say is, where my sisters at? Where are my sisters at? Nick Baby Love, the Mac Daddy of all time and #1 promoter. Done them all, baby. And it's an honor to be here with Teddy T and the entire Squirrel Film Entertainment and Radio family.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. The cup. Move the cup. Move your cup too, Nick. All right. So it's going down right now. Newkirk, can we adjust Nick's camera a little bit just to get him you can do an out of field camera, man. Move that camera to foot. Yeah. So move, yeah. That's good. That's definitely good right there. Get the bottle out the way. This is a live streaming right here. Podcast, the origins of what's going on. Can you slide me over a little bit, Newkirk? Cause I'm like not in the picture. Oh, there I go right now. There I go. Nick Baby Love's in the building. This podcast is called Origins. We just kicked it off with a legendary label, Depth Cut Records, in the building with my man Alex, who was definitely instrumental with a lot of Miami bass from the 80s. You know what I mean? And this is what this show is about. We are highlighting music from the 60s, 70s, and 80s from an expert who was with these artists, with these labels. So we want to find out about the history of Nick Baby Love. Where's it start, Nick?
Straight up, the abbreviated version is, and everybody can check out, a video called Bagman on YouTube. There's a book and a movie eventually coming. So I was very fortunate that my dad, who, was a crazy Italian that ran numbers and did football cards, because there was nothing back then in the 70s when I was growing up. And so I used to run to the black community and sell the football cards and all that. And they was turning me on to music. I built a lot of relationships. And one thing led to another.
Now, hold up, Nick. Hold up. Now, what you're saying is you was in Worcester, Massachusetts, and you was running... In Boston, and you was running numbers in the black community.
Unfortunately, I'm not proud of it, but yes, from when I was 11 till I was 17, because then they couldn't arrest me.
Right, and that's what we have in common, because I was running numbers in Nashville, Tennessee from probably 1975 to 1978. You know what I'm saying? From the time, well, I want to say I was a little older. I want to say from the time I was 7 years old, from 1977 to, let's say, like 1980, I was running numbers in Nashville, Tennessee with my grandmother. So that's what, we have so many things in common. It's incredible. But I want you to talk about the fact that you was an Italian kid going into a black neighborhood. You know, talk about how that was.
Man, it's hard, brother, because I took a lot of abuse. So I'm an Italian. I was strong. I don't mean to get emotional, but, bottom line is, I'm going to insert it with another word. If I had $10 for every time I was called a neighbor lover, I'd be a multi-billionaire. I should be rich anyway, as MC Hammer says, because I done screwed up so many times. But no, I took a lot of abuse, and it's just that.
But you took abuse from who?
From all my so-called paisans and the Irish in Boston, everywhere. Why you hanging out? I don't want to say the word. Why you hanging out with the neighbors?
Right.
Because I was doing the football cards, which were really a big deal. You would fill it out. It was for amusement only, but they would really pay out if you hit.
Right.
Like 7 out of teams that week, 7 out of 8 teams, you did whatever. And then the numbers was a whole separate thing. We know how that was a big business in Harlem, and it was big in Boston and any other big city.
Right, everywhere.
Everywhere.
So how was the music affecting your stay? When you would come in, what songs did they turn you on to? What songs did you really get into back then?
Not only was my father, they had the Black Orchid restaurant in Worcester, very famous because they would let, even in the 60s, brothers and sisters would come in there, and, they just didn't care. You had money, you were drinking. Your father didn't care about all the BS. This was before people could even vote. That's why it's so emotional for me. And so they just kept playing Ella Fitzgerald. They played Billie Holiday. They would play, I could go on all day, from a Frank Sinatra, Nat King Cole. Besides that, I'm thinking of just so many other singers. Not only Ella Fitzgerald, who I consider the greatest of all time, but my girl that sang this special song. It's not Esther Phillips. I can't believe I forgot her name.
It's okay. So listen, I want to find out. So when did you actually start DJing?
So I started DJing in clubs in like 71, 72. Besides, I was on the radio before then as an engineer and a fill-in on the weekends.
So you was actually, how did you get on the radio?
Because I took my first class FCC license in New York City, and I passed with a radar endorsement. And then so I begged and begged and begged, and they put me on from midnight till 6 in the morning, WAAF in Worcester, WORC, WNEB, this is something Tavares would know all about, WEIM in Fitchburg. And, I example, and just trying to, because we got them coming up, tell the Tavares story as quick as I can.
Now you got to tell it. I told you they're not coming today. We got to tell them the story. So you just go ahead, continue. But I want you, don't tell that story yet. Talk about what was going on as far as when you was DJing.
Well, basically, it was a thing where there wasn't even no set rules. In other words, it was really soul music from the 60s and 70s. Example, my first experience big time was with Richie Kazar, who ran Studio 54, when I went to see him spin, and he played a song called Love Power by Willie Hutch, and the crowd went crazy, and it was all about, soul music and little 45s of so many songs from, you could say, Smokey Robinson to The Temptations to Marvin Gaye, even some of the young, the early Stevie Wonder stuff. Motown had a big influence, along with, like for example, Casablanca Records, where another one of my mentors, Neil Bogart, had Parliament, Funkadelic, you know what I mean, George Clinton. They had one of my best friends to this day, Larry Blackman and Cameo. I could go on all day. I promoted his first record in '76 called Find My Way. And so, and I wasn't even promoting. I was just learning, and I love good music.
So what year did you really start? So you say you started DJing in '72, right?
Basically, this guy, Kenny Caperso, at the big radio station, came in one night, and he's a gay dude, which I respect him. Very famous. He programmed a bunch of stations, and he taught me about programming. He's the one I got in trouble with for playing the Tavares thing 7 times. But Kenny says, "You're now Nick Baby Love." And everybody was doing it. All my friends, black, white, Spanish, everyone was calling me Lovey Dovey. Lovey, baby this, all kinds of different stupid names. And then Baby Love.
Hi, I'm Rose Salerno. I'm with my uncle Nick Salerno. I just have a few questions for him.
With Nick Baby Love, Kenny Caperso gave me the name. I just had no idea, and that turned into Nick Baby Love Salerno, which you were on the Bagman thing, which is going to be part of a book. So all I can do is thank my uncles and everybody, all the Italians around me, that just said, let's throw the kid, because he ain't going to get arrested. If he gets caught with the cards, the FBI ain't going to do nothing. Let's throw him in and do the numbers. He's only 11. We'll drop him off. You go to this place, and that place. And so then I got acclimated to the music, and I have to thank everybody, including all my friends in high school that, I went to my buddy's house when I was 9, and he first turned me on to the Temptations and Jimi Hendrix, and I started messing with a turntable, and it's like a situation that's on Bagman, and it's really crazy, because that's why somebody like Jerry Russian, who threw me out of the building like 4 or 5 times, finally said, you know what? I think this guy's really a brother, and obviously, Teddy, I mentored you for 25 years, and then Frank Wizard Colson, another one of your mentors, mentored me, and then Alan Johnson worked for me. It's a whole cycle, and, it was just a beautiful thing, and we never thought about color, or we never thought about none of that. All we thought about is, you know what, if the music's good, and we got a good set of ears, then let's play the music, let's do our thing, and forget about the noise outside. And to this day, I'm very grateful. I mean, I can't say too much, because if it wasn't for all the brothers and sisters and all the people in the barrio and the hood, I wouldn't be Nick Baby Love. You know what I mean?
Now, that's what I want to say. Like, I remember when I first thought about this idea, for me, I was fascinated the fact that you was a Italian brother engulfed in black music, and the backlash that you got from your other Italian people, but how you still persevered. Like, you went to high school and played for an all-black team. You was the white center, right? You was the center?
Correct. North High in Worcester, Mass.
You know what I'm saying? And just what was that like, as far as you went through a lot, as far as on your side being pressured because you was with black people, you know what I'm saying? And you still persevered and created a whole career with it. Now, I got some names I'm going to throw at you, and you just trying to tell me what it means to you. So if I say Stan Hoffman, who was Stan Hoffman?
Stan Hoffman was the owner of Prelude Records. He gave me a shot. That's one of the first guys to give me a shot at promotion. He had a record by D-Train called You're the One for Me. He had Secret Weapon. I brought into Leo Jackson at WEDR called I Hear the Music. And on and on and on. He had a partner, Marvin Schlachter, and that was Prelude Records, and he was like a godfather to me. He just gave me a shot because he saw there was always the big question in town from Henry Stone was, and he had a big fight with Steve Alema was, well, you know, he's an Italian dude. There's no way he can work black radio. But Steve didn't know my history. And so Marvin did because he asked Henry Stone and obviously Stan Hoffman. And, you know, it's like, well, yeah, let's send him over. And then they called Jerry Russian. And Jerry Russian said, yeah, he's a pain in the ass. He talks too much, but he keeps bringing hit records. And this is one. Jerry Russian broke this. Because back in the day, he used to be on the radio, obviously.
This is it right here. You're the one. This is one of Nick Baby Love's records right here from Prelude Records.
D-Train.
D-Train. This is real, man. Origins, this is a nice show that comes on and educates you about people from the industry right here with Nick Baby Love, Wildman, Teddy T. Now, Nick, I also want to mention, let me see who else I got here. What about Jelly Bean Benitez?
Jelly Bean Benitez, that's a whole nother story. When we were doing it, we were trying to come up with an idea. Am I all right? Yes, I got to pay attention to the mic, Teddy. Everybody doesn't know I am legally blind.
Well, you can hear and you can tell that.
Yeah, I'm a cancer survivor. To everybody out there, you can survive cancer, be positive. But as far as Jelly Bean Benitez, he was a DJ at the Funhouse in New York, and I used to go visit him, and there was a girl that was a real pain like me that kept bringing him records and test pressings. That girl later was known as Madonna. And then Madonna, he turned her on to the major labels. So Madonna was there in the studio. It took us several nights because the equipment wasn't the way it is now. Madonna was at Galactic Studios in New York along with myself. And Bam, of course, that's what we call African Bambaataa, short for Bam. And Arthur Baker and John Roby, Tom Silverman. And, of course, Jelly Bean ended up dating Madonna. And they were there when we were doing Planet Rock, which obviously is one of the biggest records in history. And I just thank God. So here was another one. Tom Silverman.
Not talk about that. Like back then, you said Madonna, Jelly Bean, they was all at the recording of Planet Rock. Like talk about what was the back session like when you were doing these songs.
It was just crazy because she, you know, was a hustler. You know, in other words, Jelly Bean turned around to the guy she eventually signed with, which was part of Warner Brothers, whatever the case may be. But she just was hanging around, and then he just happened to bring her because he was invited that night because nobody knew what Planet Rock was going to do. All I kept saying was, if you add a flavor like Numbers and do all that other stuff, it'll be something. And when everybody, you know, because it was 2 or 3 different nights, and there was other people, but it was like everybody knew, like, you know what? This thing's so damn funky. This may be something special. And even she said that, you know, and that goes back how many years? That goes back to 1980, brother. So you just never know, and that's a fact. I mean, it's in one of my videos. I mean, they dated, you know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, you know, and he's a gay dude.
Wow.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So,
right. Well, she dated a lot of gay guys. That definitely.
Exactly.
Madonna
you know what I
dated
mean?
a lot of gay dudes.
But she was smart. I respect her for one thing. She's the greatest of all time and I don't agree with her on a lot of things, but she knew how to do promotion and promote herself because she suffered. She lived in excuse my French, in very lousy apartments and whatnot. She suffered and paid her dues. That's why I respect Madonna.
Definitely. So, now I got somebody else here. Just a second here. What about Richie Kassor? Richie Kazar. Well,
he had the first DJ coalition in New York, and all the DJs like Jimmy Stewart. These are names that people can look up. He was a chemical engineer at MIT in Boston, but he spun in New York and Boston. Guys like Bobby Gattadaro. I could name so many other DJs. My man that spun at the Copa, Tony Gio, I could go on all day with all the names. He had this coalition, and of course, because I reported to Billboard, I finagled my way into that, reporting to the trades, going back to 75. He invited me to Studio 54, the whole 9 yards, and Richie was just an amazing human being, and this was all, it was like almost the gay mafia, which you can say to this day, the gay mafia is, is dream.
So
works.
when you say gay mafia, you say all these DJs, all these promoters, it was like a whole gay setting.
Example,
go
who's the
culture.
most powerful people in the country?
Yeah.
Okay, even though he's not gay, Steven, the guy that did all the movies, you know what I'm talking about. But Jeffrey Katzenberg and the guy that owns the other label there. In other words, the three owners of Dream Works. And so it really wasn't a question of being a gay, but they were playing the new music.
Mm-hmm.
And the labels would go to them, and that's how they got all the power.
Wow, just from being influencers, you would say.
A complete, in other words, if the record wasn't happening like Jerry Rushing taught me, within 10 seconds, next, give me another record.
Right. That's definitely. So, like, coming up from going to DJ to promotions, how did that swing in from there?
That happened by accident, where I befriended another gay dude, very, very big, Mark Paul Simon, Provocative Promotions, and he was like handling Casablanca. That's how I met Neil Bogart. He was handling Capitol. That's how I met Joe Smith. And then obviously Donna Summer was on Casablanca to, P-Funk, George Clinton, Larry Blackman. I could go on all day with the names. Casablanca was Cecil Holmes too. Mm-hmm. They had Chocolate City, and they had, of course, the name of the label with Neil Bogart. My mind just went blank because I said Chocolate City, but what's the label?
Casablanca, Chocolate City.
Yeah, it wasn't, whether it was Casablanca or whatever, my mind is blank right now, but it's a label with all those artists on it. And it was Casablanca, because thank God it's Friday, that just recalled my mind there. Just an incredible amount of records. Neil Bogart was a great mentor, like four other guys that I revere that had a tremendous influence on my life. So you meet all those people and you learn, and one thing leads to another. And so, in the middle of the whole Tavares thing, if I'm crazy enough as a DJ to start playing a record, check it out, and then promoters were coming at me, the actual promotion, man, the real big time people. Mm-hmm. That's what I learned, like from a Jerry Brenner. This is the mafia.
Right.
Freddie DeCipio in Philly, Joe Isgro on the West Coast. They controlled the business. In fact, I can remember a story, and I didn't believe it, that Freddie DeCipio, RCA, because I also promoted Solar for Dick Griffey, Freddie DeCipio used to get $1 million a year from RCA just so he wouldn't promote the records.
He was getting $1 million just to not promote records?
Just to stay quiet and stay away. Wow. They were that scared of him.
So when you see what was going on at this age, let's say 70, 72, 73, 74, 75, how was you adjusting at that age into the industry at the same time?
Very difficult because, I was like torn and not understanding, like, how do you develop a flavor? Like, for example, Jerry Rushing. I go back to Jerry Rushing because with Henry Stone, those are my two biggest mentors, along with Morris Levy from Roulette. Like I said, Neil Bogart from Casablanca, a little bit Armin Erdogan from Atlantic, and of course, what's his name? He had a few records. Why I forget it all the time. Whatever. There's just somebody else the guy that sits next to Jack Nicholson, I just, wasn't down with him, but I learned a lot. You know what I mean? I think you know who it is, Alex.
Right.
If you're around. But anyway, he had many artists. Carole King was one of them. Tapestry, one of the biggest albums in history. And, I'll think of the name in a second. But anyway, so, you're fortunate to listen to. You're fortunate to listen and meet all these people, and you're hustling, and so, at the end of the day, and I'm just trying to think of my man's name, because he was such an influence. If you showed an interest, and you were, really, really hungry, and they saw that I was dying of malnutrition, they would feed you the info, because most people, even back then, without computers and cell phones and all that, a lot of people didn't want to listen, but I would sponge. I would sponge, and just the stories were just Teddy. They were just amazing to control. Even with a guy like Fred Rector, who worked for Henry Stone, that taught me about black radio. In other words, to make a long story short, not only the voting bothered me, but usually the white guy owned, and like I said, and I'm a conservative, and so the white guy owned the station. They would never be paying the brothers the right money. So my thing was like, why can't you break somebody off and do what you got to do, versus the so-called, I hate to use the word, but the crackers, you know what I mean? The white guys at radio would have their hands out, and the brothers would never say nothing. So, I could go into so many names right now that I want to say, Chico Wesley, James T., whatever, I'm saying it because I'm saying it. If a brother needed something, why shouldn't I be hospitable and do something kind, whether he needed diapers for his family or he needed a case of water or whatever, versus because they weren't paying him.
Right. Well, we got my brother Lorenzo Williams. He's on the Zoom call. He's in the building right now. And talk about that part of the West Coast side of how you got with him.
Lorenzo, how you doing, my brother?
Loud.
I can't hear him that loud. Oh, I don't have headphones.
He's been doing that for years.
Yeah, I wish I had headphones, but as long as I can hear him.
Just go ahead, keep talking, Nick.
Anyway, Lorenzo, if he can hear me, I don't know what technical adjustments you're making. Lorenzo Williams is a true legend in the business. He is one of the people that I respect for having a great set of ears, because when I met him, I dealt with him, was through McCullough Records, this guy Don McMillan, and nobody would even believe it, but Lorenzo started the whole thing. I mean, world-class wrecking crew from Jump Street, because I lived it. I promoted the thing for Don McMillan, to start with. And, Lorenzo just had a set of ears, and whether it was Ice Cube or Dr. Dre or just the whole conglomeration of people that became NWA, this brother is just a great human being. He did his thing, you know what I mean? And I made a lot of mistakes, and I wish I would have done more, but I was green and stupid, but I was there and I was part of it. So I love you, brother.
So we were trying to get your audio straight, Lord. We're trying to hear you. It's not even, no, he's not on mine.
But, yeah, that's what happened. It was a pressing plant in Los Angeles on Santa Monica Boulevard, where I have eventually got Egyptian Lover, and Hammer and Rumors, and that's how I got the Two Live Crew. They had a record Revelation that I got, and then I got David Hobbs' phone number, and that was that story. That's how the whole, which we'll go into on other shows. That's how the whole Two Live Crew thing started. They had a record called Revelation, etc. I mean, there was so many other records, and they were all huge in the Southeast, which I primarily concentrated on, from WEDR with Jerry Russian all the way to another legend, God rest his soul, Scotty Andrews.
Okay, so Lorenzo, can you say something? Turn it up. Can you turn it up over there? Hold on, keep talking so we can get your audio to come in.
Yep, Lorenzo
Nick,
Williams.
be quiet. Go ahead.
Test 1 2. Test 1 2.
Okay, there you go.
All right.
So go ahead. Talk about what you had going on in the West Coast and how you and Nick Baby Love used to work together.
Well, you know what, man? When I started doing this back in, started DJing in '79, by the time I got my nightclub, and I started DJing in '77, got my club in '79. I was in the record pool, and I started seeing the hip hop records come through, like Curtis Blow and Sugar Hill Gang, and I started making these underground mixes. Y'all call them mixtapes, we call them bootlegs, and it was just mixes of other people's music. And I wanted to go legit, and I pressed at a company called Bill Smith Custom Records for a while. And Bill was strictly a cash and carry account, and McCullough was giving up credit without no credit check, no nothing. And it seemed like a great deal, but most of us didn't know the record industry. And McCullough was giving you one and selling two out the back door, but for most of us, unfortunately, that's the best thing we had going, and he was the best and the worst thing. And Nick became one of the promotion guys that was working out of McCullough. Now, Nick, I got one little correction on the history. I can't take credit for being the first one. Duffy Hooks was the OG. He's the one that brought us all over to McCullough. But I was right behind. I was in that first little wave, though. That's for sure. Some people give me credit for that. I can't take credit for my history. I got to keep it. I got to keep it as accurate as possible. Keep everybody from jumping on me, because that's why I'm trying to take credit for stuff I didn't do.
That's right.
Duffy Hook was first. Me and Roger came in right behind that.
Okay, and so when did the Wrecking Crew come about? What year was that?
93.
83.
83. 83. We had a song called Slice, and we came out with Surgery. And then we hit with Juice, and then we hit with the World Class album after that.
Now, I remember in 1982, 83, it was Dr. Dre.
Yes,
Surgery. That was Dr. Dre, the producer. And, I love that record right there. That record was incredible. And Don't Turn Out the Lights was another hit with Michelle A.
Yeah, that was the last one we did together. Before that, we had Lovers. That was our first big record. Actually, our biggest record before Turn Off the Lights was Lovers, which is just like Turn Off the Lights, but Mona Lisa sang that song as opposed to Michelle A.
Okay, so what was it? What was the like in the movie Straight Outta Compton when you and Dre was having that little confrontation based off of, you wanted soul music, you was into the disco, the vibe, and he was in the rap. How real was that as far as back then, what was going on?
Lorenzo, can I interject, please? Let me tell him the truth. Can I do it, my brother?
He said, go ahead.
He said, go ahead?
Yeah.
Okay, here's the deal. Because like I said, he's totally right about McCullough with the indoor, backdoor. That's just the nature of the damn music business. But I was there. How I got to do all the other records from him.
No, but I asked the specific question.
Okay,
answer that question.
Here's the exact answer. Lorenzo has as good a set of ears as me, and I think I got one of the greatest set of ears in the history of the business, and everything he said is true. The movie's true, and the bottom line to the whole thing is, that's why it turned out to be a great movie, because they didn't try to diss him. In the context of it, you got to understand radio didn't stop playing rap until like the late 80s. So Lorenzo was right, like trying to get them to do something to get them jump started and go, yada, yada, yada. But yet, even though he says he didn't start it, he's like an enormous part. And the movie is 100% accurate. And I can't say that about every movie. And I will never give anybody credit for having a great set of ears unless they do. So I love you, brother. You got an incredible set of ears. And, all I can say is much respect.
Now, you want my opinion?
Yes.
The movie had me kind of messed up. Just as far as my opinion of hip hop. I love hip hop. I was the first one to bring Curtis Blow to Los Angeles, Run DMC. I'm a big hip hop fan from the Jump Street. What they did is they took another scenario and changed it up and applied that to that scenario. And the problem I had was it wasn't Cube, it was Jinx. Jinx did a song at Dudo's called what's it called? Fuck All Them Hoes.
Exactly.
Jinx did a song called Fuck All Them Hoes at Dudo's, and what most people don't realize is at Dudo's I had the Compton PD as my security guards. And when one of the guards heard Jinx do Fuck All Them Hoes, he pulled me to the side and he says, "Hey man, I can arrest you for endangering a minor." Like, for what? Your guys up there doing this nasty ass song talking about dicks and shit, and that's illegal. Back then, that kind of shit was illegal. It wasn't even a gangster song. It was more of a just fuck all them hoes, and that was a no-no at that time, man. And when I got rolled up on that, when I got pulled to the side by the cop, I wouldn't jam Dre's ass up for letting Jinx do the song. It was never Ice Cube. It was Jinx.
Right.
It wasn't a gangster rap. It was called Fuck All Them Hoes.
Right.
They took that scenario, flipped it around, and used it to in the movie, and to make people think I didn't care for hip hop. Now, what I did have a problem with when it came to NWA, it wasn't so much the hip hop; it was the name.
Right.
Again, I'm a grown ass man. I got an ARP card and everything. So being a kid of the '70s, you couldn't say the word nigga out in public.
Right.
And I just thought that was a kind of a slap in the face from where I come from. And I didn't think they would go very far with that. That's why they called it NWA, but it stood for niggas with attitudes. And I had an issue with that. But as far as the music go, because if you remember correctly, this is the part people keep forgetting. They weren't gangsters in the beginning. They were just some reporters from the streets. Mm-hmm. They didn't get gangster till later on, so it was no reason for me to hate on gangsterism.
Right. They
was doing songs like Something to Dance To and Express Yourself. They weren't doing no gangster rap, and people keep forgetting that shit. I didn't, because I was there.
Lorenzo, wasn't it really, as you told me 100 years ago, it was really just a DJ group, and it was like, the rules were different. Everything you're saying is the truth. That's why the movie is so good versus other movies. It's very hard. It's hard to do a bad movie, never mind a good movie, and that's where I agree with you. I'm just backing you up. I got your back. It's the truth, because you can imagine the pressure. Teddy, you know me and my history. When I say I'm an officer of the court to the police back in the day, and they got scared, but imagine the pressure Lorenzo was under just to try to make this thing happen, and he's having to deal with the noise on the outside on top of everything else.
Definitely. Now, Rizzo, what has the West Coast sound? How is it different from then to now? Like, what do you think is the difference?
Well, back in the day, we were all about the up-tempo beats. Everybody was at least 125. Then it slowed down to the low 90s. And now, I don't know what it is, man. It's just, it's not even really a danceable groove. Because back in the day, people were more into freestyling than they were more into freestyle dancing and locking. So that's why songs like Juice and Surgery, it was pop locking, I should say. Juice and Surgery had so much impact because the pop lockers loved that shit. People don't pop lock no more. They don't lock no more. They don't really dance no more. So the grooves, they're not really danceable grooves. They just something to smoke to.
That's it. Smoking bob their head.
Smoking bob their head. They go to the club, look at their phone, bob their heads and smoke a blunt. That's their party.
Now, when you goes back to the music that you guys was making and the music of that time, there was a lot more live instruments. It was a lot more feeling into the music. Do you think that's what really changed the element of music? Because right now, like when you could play a song from the 70s and 80s, and just the vibe, the vibe of the music is totally different from the music right now.
Back then, you had people that could implement feeling into the instrumentation. Even when even with drum machines, man, different cats had different feels for the drum machine. And when it went computers don't have no soul. Ain't no program for soul. You can't buy an app for soul. You can't buy an app for feeling. You can't buy an app for improvisation, nothing like that. So when you got a guy that is able to add that extra beat or that extra sizzle to a track, or you got a musician that can hold that chord a little bit longer or a little bit harder at certain points, drum machine can't feel that, and a sequencer can't feel that. And that's what makes a big difference when it comes to today's music versus music of yesterday.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. That's why, because I'm like New York. I even like Miami. I feel like we lost our sound. A lot of New York definitely lost their sound. You know what I mean? A lot of these people lost their sound, and I think that's just through the education. The people wasn't educated, and they don't understand what it really was. You see what I'm saying? Because it wasn't passed down to them. You know what I mean?
Well, most of us had music in school at some point in time, man. In the early days, music was, you might play the piccolo, but you had a music class. You know what I'm saying? So if you playing the clarinet, the piccolo, the triangle, or whatever the case may be, you understood certain things about music and notes and sounds and stuff like that. And by the time this new generation hit school, music wasn't a part of the school program, and they don't know nothing about bass notes and clef notes and quarter notes, whole notes, trembling, whatever the case may be. The computer, everything is computerized, and they can generate a beat, they can generate a sound, but again, it has no feel, it has no feeling.
Definitely. We got Lorenzo Williams in the building right now, straight from Macola Records, straight from the World Class Record Crew. You know what I'm saying? On the show Origins, the podcast, music, artists, and labels with Nick Baby Love. Man, it's definitely a pleasure to be able to have you on the show with us right now. Like, what are some of the things that you're doing right now to kind of bring back the culture of where you come from to the West Coast and the world?
Let me just
wait. Let him answer the question, Nick.
That's Nick.
I founded a nonprofit called the Lyrical Revolution, man. It's lyricalrevolution.org, and we work with new artists to help them get exposed. I do a Tuesday night Facebook Live show called the New Music Webinar every Tuesday night on Facebook Live. And the Lyrical Revolution also is launching a campaign called Hood Peace, Hood Lives Matter. And this campaign will be launching any day now. I'm just waiting on my T-shirts and my posters to come back from the printer, and you'll hear about it all over the country, all over the world. Because one thing about it, man, while one group is fighting systemic racism, we got to fight hoodism. Okay, right. Hoodism is a problem as well. So while brothers may have issues, we definitely have issues with the police, but we also have issues within our own communities that we have to rectify, man, so people can respect us, and because hood lives matter, and that's what I'm working on. Hood peace, because hood lives matter.
Right, because to me, my thing is the community has to take responsibility for the people in the hood. You know what I mean? Like, we got to do community policing. we got to do community education. We got to do community economics. Like they call it socialism. It ain't communism. It's just us looking out for our own people. You know what I'm saying?
Everybody else do it. Why can't we? When we do it, it's amazing, man. When Latinos, Jews work together, it's called community. When we work together, we're playing against the world. We ain't plotting against nobody. We just trying to come up like everybody else.
That's it. That's it.
I mean, like I said, if I disagreed, Lorenzo, you know me well enough to know I would say so. But, two things I got to say is this is what I keep harping on about the movie and your career, because it's very important in the launch, and I got your back, because I got my show on at Flow Rider here, or Strong Arm, every week, and I got a lot of juice. I know what you're saying is just common sense, and I do know one thing. I told you in the beginning, but I'll say it over and over. They wouldn't know a melody or a hook if it bit them in the ass today, and that's where you come in with your whole new situation there, and you educate the people. And as far as all that other stuff, you know what I mean? Malcolm X said it best. He's one of the people I idolize. You want to get it done, you do it yourself. Because the black community is the most powerful community in the country if they would just stick together, period.
Nick Baby Love, ladies and gentlemen. Nick Baby Love.
That's good,
Nick
man.
for president. Nick for president.
So, hey, man, Lorenzo, man, we appreciate you stopping through, man, dropping that science on us. Give everybody your social media and any information that people can keep up with you and get in contact with you.
Check out my YouTube channel. If you want to hear more stories about world-class record crew, Dr. Dre, Ice Cube, CMW, Michelet, Afro Man, go to my website, go to my YouTube channel, NWA Stories with Lonzo. That's NWA Stories with Lonzo. If you can't find it on YouTube, go to my website, LonzoWilliams.com. Take you to all my social media. My social media is at Real Lonzo NWA, all over the place. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, at Real Lonzo NWA. That's me, baby.
Yeah, and it's a story with Afro Man. I was one of the first people to play before I got high on Power 96. The label actually asked me to break that record. That was my first record I played. I remember at 6 o'clock they brought me in. It was like the label asked that you be the first person to break this record because they knew I was a weed head, and it was well known. So they asked me to play that record, and I broke the hell out of that record. I played that record 7 times in a row. That first time I played it 7 times back to back.
Man, I talked to Afro Man 2 weeks ago. He's still making money in that record.
Oh, man, he's got to be, because that record is incredible. That was a big record.
Yes, sir.
Teddy, look at, we got to use our platform. This is a brother I have tremendous respect for. Let's cover his back all the way. I love you, brother.
Much love, Nick.
All right, thank you for calling, Lo.
You got it, baby. Be out.
All
Peace.
Right. So this is what it's all about. Origins right here with Nick Baby Love, Wildman, Teddy T. We just brought y'all the legendary Lorenzo Williams from the world-class wrecking crew, NWA. Who else can do it for you, huh? Who else?
Only Teddy T.
Vintage people, man.
And
we got
Nick Baby Love.
in the building, man. He's an expert. He's an urban music expert, I call him. You know what I mean? Because he's been behind the scenes and a part of so many different records, man. And this show is going to be every 2 weeks. Y'all lock into it, man. Nick Baby Love, what else you want to say?
No, I just want to say I'm honored to be here. I appreciate DreamWorks, Dreamhouse, hey, but it's all be DreamWorks. But it's Dreamhouse, Polka Local Music, my man Timothy, his son, who is becoming an expert, and Alex Weir and all his associates. I appreciate them coming down. And obviously, I met Newkirk.
Mm-hmm.
And Teddy, I've been with you for 25 years.
Yes.
Let's just make this thing rock. And you know what? It was an honor to do the thing with Reggie. So I want to shout out Freezy, Flo, and especially Reggie Mathis, the attorney, Esquire, extraordinaire. And Teddy, I love you, brother. Thank you.
Love you, man. We're going to leave out
Grazie.
we're going to leave out with Crazy from my man, Polka Loco!
Flashing hotels with the flexi flow. Mask, gloves, rubbers, pose. Sprayer down with some H2O. Brother Marquise lyrically took chances. Cause this is the era of the private dancers.
Just wanna go crazy. Just wanna go crazy. You gon' go crazy. You gon' go crazy. You shake that thing. Shake that thing. Get it. Now twerk it. Now twerk it.
You know what this is? We in showbiz. You got no biz. Hanging out with the homeless. What's wrong with you? Play like chess, make a move. Body rock, get up, baby, don't let up. Girl, you gotta step up, ass down and head up, head up, head up, head up.
Back it up, back it in, back it up, back it in. Move it down, move it up, move it down, jump around. Everybody moving something, everybody stomping something.
Gotta get on the roof. Cut it up, death. Cut it up, death. Cut it up, death. Cut it up, death.
Your body, shake your body, your body, shake. Just wanna go crazy, just wanna go crazy, just wanna go crazy. You gon' go crazy, you gon' go crazy. You shake that thing, shake that thing.
It's cut it up, death. Talk D on the beats. You know it well. T-Boys DL. Bambada on the track. Just if you can't tell, we all been through hell and back. Star Trek Enterprise pass by. Looking to the future, telescope glass eyes. Fight the elite, not the white or black guy. Jealous of the sister with a big thick thigh. Latin, white, yellow, and brown, they're all fly. Hate serve best on a gourmet dish. Temptation, that's full play for chicks. And I prevail. The hair to shake your tail. Down for a money trail.
Go bang, go bang, go. Shake that thing. Go bang, go bang, go bang, go. Shake that thing. Go bang, go bang, go bang, go. Shake that thing. Go bang, go bang, go bang, go. Now don't stop. Get it. Now twerk it. Now twerk it. Make me get it. You make me get it. Now twerk it. Back it up, back it in, back it up, back it in. Move it down, move it up, move it down, jump around. Everybody moving something, everybody stomping something.
Brand new music right here, my brothers. Like me, my man Black Owl. What's up, Black Owl, North Carolina? Brand new music, Black Owl. We keeping it moving.